The January existing home sales report set to be released later this morning. To discuss the housing market, I want to welcome in Lawrence Yun, Chief Economist at the National Association of Realtors. Lawrence, it's great to see you. It's always great to hear your insight. I want to talk a little bit about the housing picture this year. When we think about, some of the challenges that continue to face the housing market, can you give us a little bit of an insight in your perspective on what the state of sales and the landscape looks like to you so far this year?
Well, good morning, Diane. Thanks for having me. The housing market for people in the business, it's been a tough go in 2023 and 2024. 2 straight years, low sales activity. But the clients of the realtors, the homeowners, they have done substantially well. Home prices rising roughly 50% from pre-COVID, say early 2020 to recently available data. So the consumers, homeowners, have done very well, yet the business opportunity remains sluggish, partly due to high interest rate, mortgage rate specifically refusing to go down, even as the Federal Reserve cutting interest rate, because we still have this lingering consumer price inflation at play.
And then inventory has been a persistent issue in the housing market. Are there any signs of improvement so far this year?
We did see some turn in the inventory late last year, and consequently, we saw some year-over-year growth in home sales in October, November, December because of increased inventory, which is clearly implying that from consumers' point of view, they're looking at mortgage rates, they're looking at home prices, but they also want to see more choices out in the marketplace. How many homes are available? It is up roughly 20% from 1 year before. So a little more choices, but I would have to say we need another 50% increase in inventory to get us back to more normal conditions.
And then I want to ask you about regions that you see, what's your visibility on regions that are outperforming or underperforming? And where are you seeing a change in pattern?
It's very interesting development because the job growth is strongest in the southern states and some Rocky Mountain time zone states. Yet the southern states are beginning to see some tapping out. Maybe because home builders have been much more active building homes in the south, and therefore home prices in some areas, like in Florida market, Austin, Texas, we are seeing a little decline in home prices. Maybe people should view it as a second chance opportunity to get into the market. In the Northeast, shortage of inventory, simply lack of home building in the Northeast New England region. So home prices rising very firmly, consistently above 5%, near 10% range in the New England. And then you have the West Coast, where it is the prices region. So even though it is the most expensive region of the country, there are still people somehow able to get into the market. Now, sales are still low compared to what it was pre-COVID, but compared to 1 year ago, we are seeing a little higher sales activity in many parts of the country.
Okay, speaking of that, Freddie Mac said the average borrowing cost for the 30-year came down this week to 6.85%. The 15-year improved as well. We know the 15-year is often a popular refinancing option. 15-year easing to 6.04%. Do you see that as moving the needle in terms of demand, or does it really need to get closer to that 6 handle for home buyers, especially when you think about new home buyers?
For a big surge in activity, we need that 6% mortgage rates. So being at near 7%, few decimal point changes, that is still hindering the affordability issue. So I think once the consumer price inflation really calms down, then we will see the long-term interest rate, including the mortgage rate, begin to go towards 6%. And this is when we should see some surge in activity in home sales.
And then, Lawrence, I've asked you this question before. You know, so many people, their dream is, you know, a home, the white picket fence, et cetera, you know, certain number of bedrooms. Given the affordability, I hate asking it this way because I'm an optimist, but is the American dream dead, especially when it comes to younger, you know, younger millennials or older Gen Z? Where do you see that?
We are seeing some delay in home ownership entry point. So typically, people would become first-time buyer in their early 30s. But last year, very depressing, the median age of a first-time buyer being 38. And that is not due to the fact that people simply giving up on the American dream, but due to the conditions, high mortgage rates, lack of inventory. But as we get more inventory, which I anticipate throughout this year and in the upcoming years, along with the fact that we have had about 12 months of where wages are outpacing consumer price inflation. So overall, real income beginning to rise. So all this will begin to help. So without a doubt, I think the younger generation understand owning piece of America is the path towards wealth accumulation. So the dream is there. We just need the right condition to realize that dream.
All right, keep dreaming. That's our message to the younger generations. Lawrence Yun, Chief Economist at National Association of Realtors. Thank you so much for joining us today, Lawrence.